Taylor Swift, Scooter Braun in the news again, along with Disney versus Universal, Mickey versus Shrek, as well as the box office projections for the weekend. You're live with the guy Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My producer Nat's over here. She'll be reading articles and hopefully making me look good.
Hello.
You did hear it right. We're going to change the times of our live shows to Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. That goes for my morning show and our nightly political show. We need more time to do edited content. So, okay, let's get right into Taylor Swift news here. And this was kind of Scooter Braun responding to Taylor Swift. Let's read the headline here.
So, from The Hollywood Reporter, Scooter Braun's response to still angry Taylor Swift fans on catalog purchase. They made the horrible miscalculation that I care.
Okay, I think Scooter Braun benefited immensely off this. The amount he sold this catalog for compared to what he bought it for. On top of that, Taylor Swift also benefited from this. She now owns the old catalog. Eventually, she got a hold of her whole old catalog, as well as she got to re-record new music that was the same as the old pretty much, but she benefited off of both of those by making this contrived controversy with the fans, making the fans care. I think it was more of a marketing campaign than anything else for Taylor. What do you think about this?
Yes, I made a story about this a long time ago. I remembered a few minutes ago, and that was the overall conclusion I got. That, I mean, yes, she was kind of prevented to buy it if she wanted to avoid Scooter Braun. But in the end, one of the other music executives said that she always had the option to buy it. It wasn't like she was ever stopped from doing it. It was more of her morality that stopped her from doing it.
Well, and I think the fans did give Scooter Braun a heck of a time. That being said, he made a heck of a lot of money, so I don't think he would really care. But I was watching his interview just a few days ago, and it seemed like he did really care. He was getting death threats and other things, and this seemed to have really shooken him up. Also, he hadn't gotten a lot of hate before this. This was really the first incident that threw him into the public eye and had some public backlash. Since then, he has had backlash with some of his other artists.
Yes, Bieber, Kesha.
Yeah. But this was the first one, and he was commenting on that as well. This kind of set off a little bit of a public backlash against him personally. Let's go into the article here a little bit.
Okay. Scooter Braun has a message for Swifties who are still angry with him over the handling of Taylor Swift's master recordings from 6 years ago. The music executive and former music manager made a recent appearance on Danielle Robey's Question Everything podcast, where he opened up about the hate he still receives from Swift's fan base years after the original sale of her catalog to Braun's Ithaca Holdings, when he acquired her old record label Big Machine Label Group in 2019. The following year, Ithaca sold Swift's masters to Shamrock Capital for a reported $300 million, which the singer infamously criticized, leading to her to re-record her album.
Okay, and let's pause it here. And I was watching Scooter Braun's interview kind of about this, and he said this was a huge risk at the time. He really did believe in Taylor Swift. That's why he bought those original masters. That being said, he really believed in her in her career. That's why he invested so much money. When he sold them, he sold them for a lot of money too. Supposedly, Taylor said she never had a chance to bid on them when he did sell them, but her dad did have 48 hours notice because he was invested, I believe, in Scooter Braun's company, and he made $15 million through the stock going up with the sale of those masters. That was a little bit of a controversy at the time. Okay, let's continue.
Scooter says, you know, me even talking about this now, they're gonna be yelling and screaming and this and that and the other. Braun said, you can't say anything right, and it is what it is. My response is that they made the horrible miscalculation that I care. You know, I don't know those people out there, and if I met them in person and they needed my help as a stranger, I would help them. I think people forget that when you have a fan base that big and 10,000 people are yelling at you, it feels like the world is ending. But that's less than 1% of a fan base that big, Braun continued. I think most people are dealing with their own problems. I think most people are dealing with their own insecurities the same way I am, the same way every artist and every human being is. And I think it's just a more productive use of your time not to get stuck in the craziness of celebrity fodder and focus more on being kind to people.
Okay, yeah, and I think he's being pretty sincere at this. He was trying to reach a hand out to Taylor Swift. I think Taylor used this as a marketing ploy, and she doesn't want to be seen making peace with Scooter Braun, especially after the other scandals that came out with him at this point. He has so much money. He has FU money, and he can do what he wants at this point. I think he probably wishes his image hadn't been so tarnished, because before this, he was really spotless. Okay.
But he wasn't that spotless.
He was pretty spotless. This was the thing that set everything off with Justin Bieber and everything else after this. Let's go into the next story now.
From Deadline, Los Angeles on-location production falls again in Q2, but a few brighter spots emerge.
Yeah. What are you looking up there?
Scooter Braun.
Okay, just leave it because we're going to keep moving on now.
Okay.
Go to the headline here for a second. Thank you. And yeah, Los Angeles productions down for Q2 again. We've been talking about this. These productions are going everywhere but Los Angeles. Gavin Newsom in the state of California is making it extremely unprofitable for people to shoot in Los Angeles. And that's a shame, because that's where most of these studios are based. They don't want to move out of there because it's going to cost them money to move out from their set infrastructure. They have set infrastructure there. If California wanted to woo these people back, they easily could. They need to do it soon before they permanently move out of the state. You say, where are these productions moving? Well, they're not moving to Canada and Vancouver anymore. Me and Nat used to actually work in the film industry there, in the unionized and the non-unionized film production in Vancouver. That being said, it's not going to Vancouver. The Canadian film industry is struggling right now, just like the Los Angeles film industry is struggling. A lot of these productions are either going overseas for tax breaks. They're going to red states in the South, such as Atlanta, Florida, Texas, places like this. Okay, let's read a little bit here. And I think this is going to definitely continue. There are being major investments made in film studios outside of California right now.
The woes continued for on-location shoots in Los Angeles during the second quarter of 2025, but there is also a modicum of quarter-to-quarter good news on both the feature and small screen fronts as the region continues to recover from the wildfires. Film LA, the city's and county's film permitting office, said today that the overall on-location production in Greater Los Angeles declined by 6.2 to 5,349 shoot days in the April to June quarter compared to the same period a year ago. That continues a multi-year downward trend.
Yeah, and 6.5% is a lot, especially when you consider they keep losing a market share here.
Mm-hmm. TV producers fared better in the second quarter, producing more LA shoot days than the sector has seen in more than a year. There were some 2,224 shoot days for TV, a year-over-year increase of 17% and 25% more than Q1. The boost in local TV production is attributed to gains for TV dramas and TV reality. In fact, with TV dramas posted their highest observed level since pre-strike period quarter 2022.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse in Los Angeles, and especially as YouTube and independent content creators and platforms gain more and more market share. Live sports is gaining more and more market share. Network TV as well as big film productions are losing market share year after year. So I would expect more of the same to come out of Los Angeles unless there is a major change that would take place. The major change would be maybe getting rid of a progressive government and putting somebody that is more physically conservative in there that understands they need to have tax laws and tax breaks to bring business back. Otherwise, they're going to keep shedding business. This is much like what's happening in the UK right now with their million and billionaires. Million and billionaires are fleeing the UK en masse. I know it's a little bit different than the film industry, but it's for the same purposes. It's because of tax laws. China was always the place in recent times where millionaires were fleeing from. By far, they had the most millionaires fleeing from China and primarily going to the UAE or to the United States. For the first time ever, the UK is now dominating that market with more million and billionaires leaving the UK. They are doubling the amount that China is currently losing. As far as who's gaining them, it's the United States and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates is year after year where they're all going because of tax laws. But for the first time ever, the United States is almost at par with them. So it shows with these tariff laws and other things that are happening, a lot of capital is fleeing into the United States. And with that capital fleeing into the United States, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't go into the film industry. The truth is, it's just not going into Los Angeles.
And also in Los Angeles, a big part of the reason why filming is so hard there is permits and getting permits. And a lot of producers, big and small, have complained about this. The bigger ones get a little easier, but it's still impossible and insane how much restriction there is around filming and the place it's supposed to be made for filming.
Yeah, and a lot of people are savvy and they don't like the film industry in Los Angeles. If you're in Vancouver, people generally like the film industry and they'll do anything they'll bend over backwards in order to not go into a shot or to be very polite. It's also just the Canadian way, I guess. In Los Angeles, you'll see shop owners come outside with blowhorns when they're ready to film and ask for like $5,000 payoffs. Once they give the payoff to one storefront, they usually have to give it to a few. So this adds on to cost. They can't just say no, because if they do, then all the trucks, all the people, the hundreds of thousands of dollars they invested in that day of shooting will be lost. So it's cheaper just to give the small payoff to the local business owner. This is commonplace in Los Angeles, where it's not in a lot of other places. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go into Wednesday again.
So from Variety, not even season 2 is fully out, and Wednesday renewed for season 3 at Netflix.
Yeah, and I know you don't like Jenna Ortega. I don't mind her, especially in this role. This role is really suited for her, and I said this last week or the other day as well, with Hurry Up Tomorrow coming out, that being a horrible film. Lucky for her, nobody watched it. It was written and produced by The Weeknd, which was just a bad choice. She now is looking to potentially go into Marvel, which I don't know is any of a better choice. It is high budget. It's not independent. It will actually have Disney backing it. The problem with that is Marvel in general is a dying IP. She's making bad film choices when it comes to major roles in films. She's lucky she has this to fall back on constantly. This is only season 3. I'm expecting probably 5 or 6 seasons out of this thing.
And I just don't like her because she's one of these girls that uses her being half Latina to just talk about that, even though she doesn't speak Spanish.
Yeah, but that's all American Latino actresses or Latina actresses. So as more and more filming does come to Mexico over the last few years, I'm expecting that crop of talent from Mexico to actually be able to make the transition from acting within Mexico and Mexican productions to going into the U.S. So you may see a transition into actual authentic Latina and Latino actors.
And there is a big Netflix office here in Mexico, so they have been doing a lot of local productions and Mexican productions in Latin America, but it would be good to see more of a crossover. But at the same time, I mean, none of the Latinos they're trying to entice in the US would even understand that the Latinos, and what we think about here as Mexicans, they wouldn't see as the same as what they think Mexicans are.
Well, the Netflix studio in Mexico City is not just big for Mexico City. It is really the hub for all of Latin America. This is going to be Central South America. They'll film in Mexico, much like they film in Vancouver. When they film in Vancouver, they always make it look like the United States because it's for a U.S. audience. When they're filming in Mexico City, very often they're trying to shoot for a Latin American audience everywhere in the world, and that market is quickly growing. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's read a little bit about this. I think I'll know the major talking points here, but let's see what they have to say.
Wednesday has been renewed for season 3 at Netflix. The news comes before the second premiere of the Jenna Ortega-led supernatural comedy, which is the most popular English language Netflix series of all time. Wednesday stars Ortega as the darkly funny Wednesday Addams, who is expelled from her school after dumping piranhas into the pool and is transferred to a private academy for outcasts. The series also stars Gwendolyn Christie as the principal, Emma Myers as werewolf roommate Enid, and Ricky Lindholm as school therapist.
And let's just pause it here for a second. I mean, she fits this role very well. It was kind of made for her, but she's going to get pigeonholed in this. She's taking risk and looking for other movie parts and major film parts to kind of break out of this. And I think if she was able to break out of this and have major success in 2 or 3 films, she would probably stop actually making this TV series before she gets pigeonholed. Like I said, she is lucky to have this to fall back on because it does suit her so well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think they also were able to capitalize properly on a property that had been semi-abandoned. I mean, the last time we saw anything coming out of anything the Adams Family was in the 90s. So the fan base of new fans and the crossover with people that remembered the series from the 90s and then the series from the 60s and 50s, kind of all their audience was very, very big already.
Well, and the Adams Family did have a lot of merchandise, and it stayed in the zeitgeist of pop culture because the characters were so strong, even when they weren't filming anything. This is kind of what you want when you're going to take a time off from the IP in order to make fans want it again. Hopefully, it's still going to be in the zeitgeist and pop culture quite a bit. And I mean, that's what Marvel, you would have hoped Marvel would have realized. Instead, they're just going to the well way too many times because they would have had the comic books to kind of keep it in the zeitgeist and just put it out here or there. But just like Marvel's and just like Star Wars, they're going to the well too much. The Addams Family actually did it right.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into, I think we have a Freaky Friday, and I'm not too interested in this, although I will say the original movie was great, but I think it should have stayed with the original. They didn't need a part two. Let's hear what you have to say after we read a little bit.
I'm going to make you go watch it because I want to review it this weekend probably.
God. Let's read it and see when it's out because I was not excited even about this article. Now I'm realizing I'm going to have to go watch this thing. I'm hoping it's not out yet. I'll go by myself.
We live near a movie theater. I can walk there.
This is a double negative because I'm seeing Freaky Friday, Disney. Yes. Okay, let's go into this.
From Deadline, Freakier Friday red carpet premiere photos. I mean, Lindsay Lohan is a different human being. Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis celebrated the premiere of Freakier Friday at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles. The red carpet event included Parent Trap Reunion as co-hosts joined blah, blah, blah. Freakier Friday is a sequel to 2003's, again, letting it cook and simmer for a little bit. Freaky Friday, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. In the follow-up film, Curtis and Lohan reprised their roles as Tess and Anna Coleman. The story picks up years after Tess and Anna endured an identity crisis. No, they endured switching bodies.
Hold on.
Why are they framing it as an identity crisis? They switched bodies. That was the whole point of the thing.
Okay, and let's just talk about this a little bit. The first movie was good. I will say that. Mm-hmm. If you did want to insert gender ideology and all this other stuff, in a very sneaky way, this kind of script would be perfect for that because it fits the script without having to say it outright.
True. And again, I mean, if they made the hot chick, which is another one of my, hidden,
and I'm not for putting LGBTQ gender ideology in movies, but the way they're doing it now, so in your face, pisses me off even more. But a movie like this, you can actually do it tastefully. Not that I agree with it, but if Hollywood's going to do it, this would be the way. Sorry to cut you off.
Which again, the hot chick did with Rob Schneider, and they did it in a very funny way, and saying the truths about women and men. And that's what made it funny. The fact that it was so insane to think that a woman's brain could be in a man's body, and then seeing Rob Schneider run around in panties. That was funny, but now you couldn't do that. They would do it all about a very serious movie about changing bodies. God. But with Freakier Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis is insufferable. She has a trans whatever.
And she's insufferable because of the politics in their personal life they insert into the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. Denzel Washington's very good at keeping his personal life personal. These other stars don't seem to be able to do that. They think they're going to climb the Hollywood ladder by talking politics, by putting their personal life out there and relating it to politics.
Yes. And Lindsay Lohan is also making a comeback. Jamie Lee Curtis,
is this a recent picture of her? Or
yes.
No? She looks very good,
yes.
Especially considering all the
38.
All the drugs and alcohol and all the crazy photos that were coming out of her. Mm-hmm. She had really fallen off. Yes. Whatever plastic surgeon she's going to.
Well, she's going to the same one Christina Aguilera went to, Kardashian mom went to. All the female celebrities are going to the same one. It's a new technique and actually good for her because she did look destroyed and it looks insane. She looks like a clone, but she looks good, and I'm fine with admitting that. Not a fan of plastic surgery, but
she looks like what's the girl from Wicked that's the singer, the little skinny white girl?
Ariana Grande.
She looks like Ariana Grande, but with a little bit of weight on her. She actually looks good. Ariana Grande absolutely killed herself, I believe, with the Ozempic. I have no evidence to actually say that, but man, why is she so skinny? This is what Ariana Grande should look like.
I mean, maybe Lindsay can now make a bid because she is I mean, not during her substance fueled days, but was a very good actress. I actually was a big fan of hers movie wise, not personal life wise. But I mean, from Parent Trap to Herbie to Freaky Friday, I mean, she was my childhood, and she was a bit more interesting in my opinion than a lot of the other girls that came out.
Well, I just
Then she ruined
remember
herself. But now she's coming back.
there was the Chinese or Korean billionaire she was dating that was the bodybuilder. He looked like a cartoon. She was on all kinds of substances. I said, there's no coming back for this girl. But now seeing her now, maybe.
I mean,
and she's probably got some damn good stories to tell.
And I mean, she was a lesbian before it was even cool to be a lesbian back in the early 2000s.
Was she still a lesbian? Or no, because she's with the Korean bodybuilder.
I think she's married now, maybe has a kid. I mean, she turned her life around as a sober person, kudos to her.
Yeah.
And it was great. It's great to see. Hopefully she stays this way. It's funny also, I'm seeing that Club Pilates was sponsoring it, and we went to the first Club Pilates when it opened in Vancouver. It's a really good Pilates studio.
I have major back issues. It ended up being a genetic condition, I found out. I didn't know that at the time, and I thought it was just my discs and everything else. I was trying a lot of things. I tried Pilates. A Club Pilates was right downstairs on the outside of our building, so I tried that, and I had never been to Pilates, and it was really good. I didn't know how good it was until I tried to go to another Pilates club years later, and I said nothing compared to that Club Pilates, at least the one in Vancouver. It was very good.
Because we went to the one that opened first. But yeah, don't love the dress. She should wear blue and go back to being a redhead for crying out loud.
No, I like her like that. She looks good. And I mean, this is a difference between a male and a female opinion, I think.
Then Jamie Lee Curtis. That was the one thing that made her unique. Now she looks like Ariana Grande. I mean, her face.
Yeah, but she looks like the good Ariana Grande. I think Ariana Grande should want to look like her, not the opposite way around.
Ariana Grande has to go back to being a brunette. Jamie Lee Curtis, once again, hate her politics, but she's an okay actress. Also, she's before used to do a lot of advocacy for things like adoption, etc. But now one of her kids has turned trans, so who knows how much we should listen to her on.
Yeah, well, I remember her from when she first came up in horror movies and things like that. Then she fell off for a long time, and The Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger was really her comeback. Her sex appeal and everything at that age really put her back into the spotlight and revitalized her career. And she, has kept going from there. It's just a shame her politics is the way that it is, and she can't shut up about it. If she has certain political views or any political views, just let them rest at home. Don't bring them into the public eye.
Yeah, but she was very good in Freaky Friday in the first one.
Oh yeah, but yeah.
And then he's back.
Is that Ryan from the OC?
No,
I have no idea who these
Chad
people
Michael
are.
Murray. Again, this is all my childhood. Maybe
Okay, we're spending way too much time on Freaky Friday. Can we just go and see when it comes out? So I have to know if I have to go see it this
in Mexico,
weekend?
I don't know when it comes out in Mexico. But this is basically my childhood. You can pinpoint how old I am from that. And then, yes. The reunion. She was in the Parent Trap. She was the evil stepmother. Sorry. Okay, whatever. So there they all are. I mean, again, the early 2000s, late 90s is coming back. It's been back in quote-unquote fashion for a while now. Gen Z is taking on the trend.
We'll go back up to that photo there. This is very good casting, though. Just looking at them visually, they're all very distinct. Lindsay Lohan in the middle, you can kind of tell is the star. You can tell who's the mom just by looking at them. The girl that looks opposite has the opposite hair, which is going to be very identifiable on screen. The reason I say this, I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and the casting directors don't understand the basic understanding of casting. The characters need to look distinctively different. You can't have people with the same color hair, similar facial features, and then cast them when they're supposed to be opposite of one another.
And Freaky Friday releases August 7th, so you have a few more weeks
to prepare myself.
Usually here in Mexico, sometimes they release things earlier.
Hopefully not.
For test audiences. So if they do, we'll go watch it and I'll review it. Because once again, I do know a lot about the original one.
Get ready for a video that gets no views. Freaky Friday.
No, that might actually get a lot of views if I go into Lindsay and her past and how she managed to break away from that, hopefully.
It'll take a week to make a Lindsay Lohan video and let's see what happens. Okay, let's go into the box office of Fantastic Four. And they've been getting a lot of hype around this movie from the mainstream media, basically shilling and lying for them. I don't think this movie is going to hit anywhere near 110 million, such as the headline says. I'm expecting an extremely low $90 million for this movie. If it breaks 100, I will be jaw dropped. Okay.
Variety box office Fantastic Four First Steps aims for 110 million liftoff.
And yeah, I just don't think it's going to hit the 110. I don't even think it's going to hit 100. If it hits 90, that's kind of where I'm thinking it's going to land. But we'll see if I'm right. I've been right a lot recently about Jurassic Park, about Superman actually not dropping off the second week, how Jurassic Park would do fairly well in its opening weekend, even though it was a bad movie. Okay, let's go into this.
So they say it's box office clobbering time, or so Marvel hopes. The Fantastic Four First Steps, the 37th installment in Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe and third to release in 2025, is aiming for 110 million to 110 million in its opening weekend. The retro-futuristic adventure, mistake number 1, starring Pedro Pascal, mistake number 2, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn as a titular team, is estimated to collect another 90 million to 100 million at the international box office for a global start between 190 and 210 million.
Yeah, and I don't know. Superman did very poorly at the international box office, did very good domestically. I think the Fantastic Four is going to do bad internationally and domestically. I do watch a lot of independent content creators in Spain, things like this. They're hitting Fantastic Four as well. So it's not just American independent media talking crap about this movie. There was something else I wanted to say about this. Why don't you read a little bit more and I'll see if I can remember.
The ticket sales are similar to the Warner Brothers DC tentpole Superman, which took flight earlier this month with 125 million domestically and 220 million worldwide. Meanwhile, projections are slightly above this year's two prior Marvel entries, February's Captain America, this is not really Captain America, with 88.8 million domestically, and May's Thunderbolts with 74 million domestically and 162.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do here because Superman actually tried to take the whole week to manipulate the box office to have this great opening week. Jurassic Park did the same. So is Fantastic Four going to do it? And if they do, I think they're still going to have bad numbers. So it's going to look extremely bad. And if they do try to manipulate that first weekend to make it a full week, everybody that wants to have seen the movie will have seen it. And it's going to have an extremely big drop off on the second week to top it off with bad numbers on the first. I don't see how this movie actually does well, but I'll be waiting on pins and needles to see how this thing actually does. Okay, the next article actually involves Pedro Pascal, which is the leader of the Fantastic Four, and he's supposed to be the leader of the new Avengers movie. I don't think that's a good call. I think they're going to have to change that idea, especially after how Fantastic Four is received. But Hollywood execs absolutely love this guy. Who knows what's going on behind closed doors?
Well, they love him because they think he can bring about a new era of non-toxic masculinity.
And as much as I hate the guy, I did read the headline of this when I was gathering the stories, and I did kind of agree with him on this.
Fantastic Four's Pedro Pascal says he was appalled by the way I look in Wonder Woman 1984, that he has never gone back to clean-shaven aesthetic.
Well, he does sound like a woman when he talks about how he looks, but that being said, he was right. So he does look far more masculine with a little bit of facial hair and a bit normal. So maybe he can trick moderates or people that don't actually know. What do you think?
He does not look normal. I mean, just he dresses in a very interesting way, saying he steals clothes from his.
Well, no, hold on here. I'm not. He's talking about when he was in Wonder Woman, and I think I'm more or less talking about his on-screen appearance. We all know, off-screen I don't want to see the guy. I don't like the guy, and it makes me not like the movies he's in. That being said, in The Last of Us, when he's a little bit rugged, stuff like that, in The Mandalorian, it works for him a lot better. So that is a good decision for on screen. That being said, he is a little bit unshaven, I think, on screen to represent masculinity. The problem is it's non-toxic masculinity. It's another section of woke. They're trying to go away from feminism, go into non-toxic masculinity, say they're going away from woke, but they're not. They're just going to another aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. He just looks dirty to me, honestly. Like, just in general, he seems like he doesn't bathe.
Yeah, but I don't mind that. I kind of don't mind that look. Who else has that? That's a Spanish actor. Is the Latin Brad Pitt? What is his name now?
There's a bunch.
No, there's he
Antonio
was in
Banderas, Javier Bardem,
no, he was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro.
I don't know if he's fully Latin. Okay, whatever.
But yeah, Benicio del Toro pulls off that look great.
I mean, Javier Bardem and Benicio del Toro are basically the same person. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up around men that look more Latino like this. But I've just never found Pedro Pascal any kind of different or particularly attractive. I don't know why so many people find him attractive.
Well, I didn't necessarily find him attractive. I first was aware of him in The Mandalorian, and given he was hidden behind a mask in most of that, after that, I seen him in The Last of Us. I didn't begin to dislike the guy until I seen his private life, everything off screen, when he bring politics on screen. That's what made me dislike him. As a man, looking at somebody else just visually, masculinely, I thought he could hit the roles somewhat. It's just everything off screen and the politics he's constantly inserting into everything that really turned me off from him.
He looks really weird, though. And, I mean, it does happen to a lot of men where shaving is not
he looks, now that I see him without the beard, I actually didn't see this photo. He looks awful without the beard. Like, yeah, right move. And even going into not having a lot of actors and actresses get Botox, their face doesn't move. He needs those character lines. It really helps build him as a character, I think.
He looks like his sibling.
Yeah, it really does.
His sibling that thinks he's a woman. Yeah, that's how he looks. But I mean, you also don't look good clean shaven, and
no.
I banned you from shaving yourself ever. So
I have no chin. I look like Vladimir Putin. Okay, we were doing an article about Vladimir Putin the other day, and she's like, he looks really weird. I was like, because he has no chin. He's like, oh yeah, I never noticed that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have one either. That's why I have a beard.
That's why I don't allow, and it happens to a lot of men. So
okay, let's go into. Why don't you say the name?
So Benedict Cumberbatch ate 5 meals a day to play Doctor Strange, says Hollywood is grossly wasteful. It's horrific eating beyond your appetite. I could feed a family with the amount I ate.
Okay, whatever. The best thing about working on set was all the free meals I used to get. I could bring them home. I could eat them on set. I loved it. Of course, actors are spoiled and they have enough money to buy whatever they want. So, woe is me. You made me eat. That being said, I don't think this character necessarily had to bulk up or be big. So why was he saying he was being force fed? He's still skinny even when he's big.
Because he's so tall.
Lean into it. Like the character itself didn't need any weight on him. It's not like a muscle-bound superhero. Mm-hmm. He's an interdimensional wielding portal magician. So, okay, let's read a little bit about it.
So Benedict Cumberbatch called Hollywood a grossly wasteful industry during an interview on Ruthie's Table 4 podcast. I do agree. I mean, on set we would see the catering trucks and then and Crafty waste a lot of food at the end of the day because they couldn't. Anything that wasn't pre-packaged, they had to basically throw out, so they would actually give it to you, which was nice for us. The Oscar nominee is no stranger to massive studio productions.
No, I mean, they would do their best to give the food away. Mm-hmm. They couldn't give it to the homeless because that became an issue. Yeah. If they give it to the homeless at the end of the day, what would happen is they would constantly be bombarded the next day if they came in the same place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I was doing security, so then it would be a big kerfuffle of how would I not let these people next to the food truck, but you can't lay your hands on them in any way, shape, or form, especially in Vancouver with not only the laws are of the Vancouver laws, but the studios themselves. If there's anything that you even touched a homeless person, you're going to lose your job. So let's go into this a little bit.
I mean, to try to protect the set. Given the Oscar nominee is no stranger to massive studio productions, given his role as Doctor Strange in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, while Cumberbatch loves undergoing a body transformation for his work, he also says it's horrific eating beyond your appetite.
Okay, keep going, because I want to know what the hell. Why did he have to bulk up?
Going back to
he hasn't explained this at any point. I can understand for like Christian Bale when he gets extremely big, or big for Batman, it makes sense. You see the behind the scenes. They talk about the eating routine, how it was torture. Understandable. Or even, Tom Hardy when he did Bronson, or when he did Mad Max when he has to get in shape or he has to bulk up or they really commit to the roles. Those roles understandably have to have a certain look. This guy in this role did not need to bulk up in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, if they needed him to bulk up, they could have just put padding underneath his super suit.
I don't think he actually says why he needed to bulk
Oh,
up.
but I want to hear.
He just goes on about environmentalism. So going back to responsibility and resourcefulness and sustainability, it's just like, what am I doing? I could feed a family with the amount I'm eating, Cumberbatch said, noting he would eat 5 meals a day while getting into Doctor Strange shape, in addition to snacks like boiled eggs, almonds, and cheese in between meals.
Okay, if he doesn't, like, the role didn't need it. So if he wants to stand up now and virtue signal about, oh, the studio is wasteful, why didn't you stand up there and say, well, the character doesn't need it. I'm not going to waste all this food. But this is how they are with all these politicians and stars with their jets. They want everybody else not to have a car, but they won't even stop flying in a private jet.
I did like Cumberbatch for Sherlock. I did watch all
Yeah,
of it. It fell off, but it was a really good
I will
series.
say, in a lot of roles, he surprised me because he was somewhat forgettable when I first seen him, but then he kept doing pretty good movies, pretty good roles. And I ended up, I think he is a good actor, but even when I think people are good actors, I very often agree with a lot of their off-screen statements. And I think he was just trying to kind of virtue signal in this article. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go into Mickey versus Shrek, Universal versus Disney. What's it all about?
From The Hollywood Reporter, Mickey versus Shrek inside the multi-billion-dollar theme park war. From Orlando to Abu Dhabi, Disney and Comcast are pouring tens of billions of dollars and their best IP in a bid to own the future of experiential entertainment.
Yeah, and I think Disney's just naturally on the way down. Universal is on the cutting edge. This might have been a little bit of a misstep, putting Shrek up against Mickey. Mickey is an iconic character. Putting Mario up there would have been a little bit even better. The new Shrek they didn't have the best animation, but that being said, Universal is making all of the right moves, and Universal is going to dominate in this space for the next 10 years. Even if I don't even know if Disney's going to be able to course correct, because they're just patching holes in a sinking ship rather than having a long-term vision. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's read a little bit of this article here.
On May 21st, NBC Universal trotted out stars, drones, fireworks, giant Bellagio-esque water fountains, and narration from Steven Spielberg to officially open its biggest bet yet on immersive experiential entertainment, Epic Universe in Orlando, Florida. But a few hours before the celebration, Comcast CEO Brian Roberts was still reflecting on what the proud moment for his company really meant. Standing on the stairs in Epic's Atlantic restaurant, Roberts looked out over the fountains and gardens at Celestial Park, the central hub of the theme park, an estimated 10 years and $7 billion plus in the making that connects the portals to its themed worlds. This is the worst it's ever going to look, Roberts said, noting that it wasn't that long ago when it was just a dirt site a short drive from Orange County Convention Center. It's going to mature and blossom and grow. Epic Universe is perhaps the most expansive push yet by entertainment companies into themed, immersive entertainment at a moment where traditional forms of media like pay TV and film are struggling or inconsistent.
And I will say this, I think the article is putting Disney against Universal. Everybody can kind of feel that's there, but these are the kind of marketing campaigns you really need to lean into, especially Universal. Universal is in the power position here. Disney owns more of the market share. Put them directly against Disney, whether it's their movies, have actors come out and build up the hype, have directors come out saying, I prefer to work for Universal because they allow me to have more creativity. Put their parks against one another. This is much like I was on WDW Pro the other day, and I said the best marketing campaigns is when you have a rivalry. That rivalry, if we remember Death Row Records versus Bad Boy Records, they put the music producers of Suge Knight up against Puff Daddy, Tupac against Biggie, East Coast versus West Coast. There's like 10 rivalries in one. Another thing that happened was in wrestling, WWE versus WCW. You had the NWO, you had Vince McMahon versus Ted Turner. You had Ted Turner's TV network versus the station that was airing WWE. You had multiple rivalries in one, and they leaned into it, and it worked.
I mean, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi.
And Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, less so Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, because they just put drink versus drink. You really want to have the rivalry work on like 10 different levels. So actors, directors, movies, theme parks, all this stuff, put them directly against a competitor. It's going to make both ships rise.
They had decided to do that like a long time ago in the 90s, but I think because of some actual ugly stuff behind the scenes, they kind of departed from the rivalry for the past 30 years.
Well, Disney has much more money to blow, so I can see Universal being a little bit intimidated. That being said, Universal is really won the fans over right now. They understand marketing, viral marketing, independent marketing, so they can do a lot more with a lot less dollars, especially if they start going to independent content creators like WDW Pro, Culture Casino, this channel. You could just a few $1,000s is going to go a long way rather than putting a TV spot. Universal could really use with this kind of rivalry. They should really lean into it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Disney had been doing very well, but then they completely messed up, and Universal is, I believe, just going to continue to grow.
Well, you understand why Disney doesn't want to do this, even though they have more money and they're in the elevated position by owning more market share. They're falling off, and they don't really have a game plan to fix it. So they don't want a rivalry at this point. That's why Universal is going to be really the company to look at if this kind of thing is started. Mm-hmm. An article like this hopefully puts the idea in Universal's head. Hopefully shows like this put the idea in Universal executives' head. Take Disney on directly in every way, shape, or form. If you sign directors, if you sign actors, make sure they know that you want them to go directly at Disney.
Although that could lose them opportunities in the future with anything, because Disney owns a lot of properties, not just Disney itself. So
yeah, I mean, that's the risk you're taking. But big risk, big reward, I think.
And I think in this, right now, Universal has the upper hand. So they might not want to, fully go on and start hitting Disney where it hurts. But
I don't think
Disney might.
I don't think
benefit.
they don't have the upper hand right now. It's just transitioning over to Universal. And as far as market share and actual money and investment, Disney, when you're trying to spark this rivalry, Universal can make themselves look like the underdog right now, and they can still make Disney look like the big player. And that's usually how you get fan support for a rivalry like this. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go into Willow. Willow used to be one of my favorite movies as a kid. A lot of people didn't watch it, didn't know it. Val Kilmer this is one of his first roles, if not one of his first roles, when he was very young. I absolutely loved the midgets in this movie. They were adorable. Midgets in general in the 80s. People. I call them midgets. Midgets in general in the 80s were great. I loved Ewoks, even though they were in suits. Fantastic. Willow was fantastic. I really hated the fact with Snow White, they made them the magical creatures, and when they replaced them, they put animated midgets in there rather than actual ones.
Little people.
Okay.
From Deadline.
Hold on. Nat wants me to tell everybody it's little people, not midgets, but I'm from another generation, so.
Yes, but okay. From Deadline, Dragon Studios home to Willow and Havoc shoots facing closure threat over unpaid tax bill.
Yeah, and I think they were expecting, because Willow's getting remade. Did it come out yet or not? Do you know? I can't remember, but they were probably expecting a lot more income coming in.
No, it did horrible.
Oh, it did do horrible. Mm-hmm. So there's probably, they were expecting to probably make sequels to this thing and a lot more. And they put off paying their tax bills, and now they're in a hole. So I would expect them to maybe declare bankruptcy, transfer a lot of if they own anything, computers, even employees, just put them in a different company and transfer them over.
So Dragon Studios is facing the threat of closure as UK tax authority chases the Welsh film and TV studio facility for an unpaid bill.
I didn't realize it was a UK and a Welsh studio. Yeah, of course, this is going to be a problem for a studio in the UK. The amount of taxes they have to pay, the business atmosphere over there is not the best, especially right now, especially how tax laws are changing. So yeah, I would say declare bankruptcy and get the heck out of that country.
Dragon Studios, based in Bregand, has provided home to titles including Disney Plus series Willow and Havoc, the Tom Hardy action movie for Netflix. HM Revenue and Customs has issued the company with a winding up petition, which in the UK is often the last resort taken by a creditor when attempting to recover debt. HMRC is essentially seeking a court order to put Dragon Studios into liquidation. The petition alone could trigger the freezing of Dragon's bank accounts.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They need to sell off their assets now, get everything out of the country, because in the UK, they will go into your home and start confiscating your TV. So I can only imagine when they go into a studio. It sounds like they actually want them to liquidate it at a huge discount and then give them the cash. I don't expect them to actually survive this, especially being in the UK. If they were in the US or somewhere else, maybe they could restructure. In the UK, the government over there is just a joke right now, especially when it comes to business-friendly practices.
Speaking of the UK regulators seek special status for Apple and Google that could mandate changes for big tech. Britain's antitrust watchdog proposes labeling Google's and Apple's mobile ecosystems as having strategic market status.
Yeah, and this is crazy. They're just trying to punish the big American tech companies. We've been talking about this for quite a while, whether it's the political show at night or this pop culture show in the day. I always bring these kind of stories up, and the EU is just making the business atmosphere within that country untenable, not only for companies that are within those countries, but companies that are outside of those countries. They are putting literally billion-dollar fines on Apple, Google, Facebook. We'll see what happens once these tariff deals are done, because I'm sure there's going to be carve-outs for these companies.
So Britain's antitrust watchdog has proposed labeling Google's and Apple's mobile ecosystems with strategic market status, which would mandate changes at big tech companies to improve competition. The Competition and Markets Authority's announcement Wednesday follows separate investigations it opened at the start of the year into Google's Android and Apple's iOS, using newly acquired digital market regulations designed to...
Where else are they going to go? We're talking about Android and Apple, the biggest two cell phone manufacturers in the world. And that being said, where are you going to go other than that? You're looking at Chinese brands. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to shut down your markets to these guys or make it untenable, you're looking at bringing in major cell phone brands like Huawei in and stuff like this.
I mean, China does own their whole electric grid, so of course they want to get in bed with them.
Let's continue.
Using newly acquired digital market regulations designed to protect consumers and businesses from unfair practices by big tech companies. And it's not like we see a lot anymore tech-wise coming out of the UK anyways.
Well, and they're not just hitting them on cell phones. We cover article after article. Every week or every 2 weeks, there seems to be an article about the EU trying to punish Google, Facebook, or Apple. Mm-hmm. And with billion-dollar fines, whether it has to do with backdoors into their social media directly, cell phones, their computers. Like, the EU is dying, and they're looking to tax and punish American companies.
Which, I mean, I don't love those companies. And
if the EU really wants to do something, make your own tech companies and favor them, but they can't.
Yep, so the smart people have left. The watchdog said Apple and Google hold an effective duopoly with 90 to 100% of mobile devices in Britain running on either mobile platform. Its investigation found a range of concerns affecting businesses and consumers, such as unpredictable app reviews, inconsistent app store search rankings, and commissions on in-app purchases of as much as 30%, which it is a problem for Apple especially, but still. The CMA also unveiled separate roadmaps for each company outlining possible measures to improve competition, including a fair and transparent app reviews and app store rankings to give British app developers certainty. Google called the watchdog's decision disappointing and unwarranted and said Android has saved app developers money because they didn't have to adapt to different operating models for each smartphone. And a lot of the Huawei and all of those Chinese ones infrastructure does go through Google's Android. So, yeah. I mean, even if they brought in new app stores, would they even work properly? Or what? I don't understand what they want.
They want shitty UK apps to have priority over actually free market apps that the free market can really decide what the best apps are. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, some of those bad UK apps would probably have to do with the BBC and entertainment, with them
a lot news.
With them trying to push their whole state-sponsored media on people, just like Canada.
Well, they're just trying to attach strings through different lawsuits, different puppet strings to these American media conglomerates, so they can try to pull them a little bit and have control over them. So, okay, I think that was the last story of the day, was it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Again, next week we're going to go to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for both this morning show you're watching now and our political show at night. So we're trying to do more edited content with videos. We just need more time because it's only me and Nat doing everything for the channel. Okay, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so, especially the subscriptions. We're trying to get to 300 and eventually 1,000. And thank you to WDW Pro for having me on the other day. It was a blast.
Yes, and we'll see you tonight.
Oh, one more thing. And that's going to be on WDW Pro tomorrow, I believe.
Probably. It has yet to be confirmed, but as soon as it is, I'll announce it on the posts as well and link it so if people are interested.
Adios.